Hello you guys and welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to have you here. I hope you guys are having an amazing week, an amazing day. I actually think this is the last MLM horror stories of the year. It's insane how time is ticking. So let's just get into it. First MLM horror story says, Walmart shoppers beware. So she said, hi D, you can just call me C while you're reading the screenshots. So I'm an OG followers of yours, girl. I know your name. I literally knew the exact time you emailed me. I was like, oh, my girl. I feel like I get like that for someone who has like commented a lot and messaged me a lot. I normally remember you guys. So you said, I'm an OG followers of yours since before you quit Beachbody. And I feel like I've really been on this journey with you. I've learned a lot from your channel and you definitely inspired me to quit my MLM right around when you quit yours. So thankful for that. I was not making any money at all, just a customer myself, basically. Anywho, I don't think this is a real horror story, but more of a cautionary tale. All right, so like I said above, I've been in an MLM before, 2 to be exact, Beachbody for a year, 2016 to 2017, and Lime Life for 3 years, 2017 to 2020. Way too long, but hey, I actually liked LL's products. Fast forward to a few days before Halloween this year. My husband and I went to Walmart to grab some supplies for a baby girl's costume. She was Pikachu. That's so cute. And standing in the clearance section was this young man with her son in a stroller. I had been taking a few laps and come back through, and she had struck up a conversation with my husband because he was wearing the baby. The 3 of us were chatting, and she seemed super nice and was very direct and asked to be friends. I thought, sure, why not? Overall, we are relatively new to the area because we're military, and I've been trying to do better about making friends at this duty station, so she and I exchanged numbers and went on our separate way. Since that day in Walmart, this lady, just call her G, has texted me almost every day. Weird for me, but no problem. She wanted to be friends. I can be friends. I'm just not used to talking to 1 or 2 people daily. Well, I started getting very suspicious when she began asking me about 5-year goals and how my relationship with my husband had been since we met. But whatever, I'm not used to extroverts, I guess. Trying not to read too much into it. My husband and I are entertaining the thought of me homeschooling our daughter in the future, and since I'm a certified teacher, I've also been thinking about joining some sort of neighborhood pod when the time comes to teach other people, children as well, and have that be some income for us in the future. This came up in mine and G's casual conversation, and she asked about other sources of income. Here's the screenshot. Her G said, with homeschooling, wouldn't know where to start. I got a mento who homeschools her 3 kids, and she's great at it. With this, you should be able to go to work though, right? C said, I've been seeing a lot of resources out there and people who want teachers to homeschool their kids as well. Since I'm certified and plan on homeschooling my own kids, I see it as a definite possibility for some income for us. MLMer G said, that's great, girl. Have you looked into other sources of making money besides that? So I tell her what sorts of things I'm doing since moving here, and she says something weird to me about investments in 401ks not being reliable for her kid's future. I tell my husband that I'm pretty sure she's trying to sell me some MLM product and dream after this message, and because she had found me on Facebook and her Facebook profile said entrepreneur. I'm confused by this message, so I just tell her about the internship I'm currently doing while studying for licensure to become a financial advisor, and how investments are important to my husband and myself. But I also like to do freelance work on the side, and he enjoys selling items on eBay. Unfortunately, the internship is unpaid during the testing process. So the screenshot says, our girl C said a few things that's mostly a future plan right now, since she's so little, like her daughter's so little. I currently work a couple times a month with blank to teach short lessons to preschoolers. MLMer says, that's really good, girl. For us personally, we love doing multiple sources of income. The thought of depending on benefits like 401k for our kids' future is not something that we want all of our hope in or bet on. Our girl said, yeah, multiple sources of income is great. Actually, going through the process of an internship, too, we are pretty big on investing as well. Then she brings up the term passive income, my first true red flag. Oh no. So I tell her that yes, I've heard of it and it's not really my thing. I've thought about a blog, but I'm not really a writer, blah, blah, blah. Cue the pitch. So let's look at the screenshots. She said, or our girl said, as in addition to side gigs like selling things on eBay or me doing some freelance work. The MLMer said, that's great. Have you heard of passive income? Our girl said, yeah, I have. Most things that I've looked into aren't really my thing. Either I don't agree with the business or not a fan of whatever products they have. I have thought about blogging for that same reason, but not a huge writer. The MLMer then says, LOL, I get you. There's a whole lot of stuff to do out there. For us, we get connected with a friend my husband went to basic training with who connected with us as a couple and then they put, I think, the names of the people who were able to retire in their 30s. We pursued diligently, and now they are teaching us to do what they do. This must be Amway. So we can do what they do in our 30s. The friend from basic training, her name is blank. She's 24 and her husband is 26, who are now earning passively 50 to 70K, which took them 4 years to build. Funniest part, I see this message and avoid opening it. So she can't see that I've read it. Texting my husband the whole while that I was right about her trying to sell something. So I tell her how that is great for those people and wish her and her husband luck. She obviously then asks me if I'm interested. Mind you, she never actually says what it is she does. Again, I say, not really my type of thing. Our girl C said, oh wow, that's awesome for them. Best of luck to them. G says, thanks so much, girl. I appreciate it. Is this something you'd be interested in learning about? We have a free 4 to 6 week education process where our mentors take you through it. As you know, learning about something doesn't hurt. Our girl said, no thanks, not really my thing, but best of luck to you. Since that message was sent, cricket. Turns out she's part of something called Leadership Team Development, which is apparently the new Amway. No product, literally just the opportunity. Michael in the office and Jim draws a nice pyramid scheme for him. So she's talking about the office and this little meme where they talk about it's not a pyramid scheme. She continued with, their Facebook page is nothing but be your own boss and motivational quotes. Doesn't even say what they do. I found my information on the Anti-MLM Reddit to fully confirm my suspicions that it is indeed a straight up pyramid scheme. All of this to say, Walmart shoppers beware. They are everywhere. Nowhere is safe, especially for a new stay-at-home mom in a military town. Side note, 1, in Walmart, she tells us all she does is deliver for Domino's at night. No shame in that, just seems weird to try to sell a dream to someone after telling them that. Number 2, early in our conversation, I told her how great air fryers are and that I highly recommend the Ninja brand one. She tells me her mom owns her own company with a better quality air fryer and she will be ordering from her. So I had a hunch she'd had some of the MLM Kool-Aid. Thanks for reading. Oh my gosh. That is so annoying. You literally can't go to Walmart. Y'all, you can't even go to Walmart or else you're going to be recruited into an MLM. I can't deal. MLMs are everywhere. Beware. They really are. Let's read the next one. Oh my gosh, this one is like a book. I love it. Okay, let's read. Dear Deanna, my name is Ayla. Feel free to use it, but I will be changing the names of everybody else in my story. So this is going to be long. Sorry for having you dry out your mouth by reading this out loud. Y'all, I have actually filmed 3 videos today and I am so parched. Like, she said this at the right time because I am. Like, my whole thing is dry, y'all. I go down that. So first story is Tupperware. She goes, anyways, there are a few parts to my story. My first was my first encounter with an MLM. My mom had 3 of us kids. I have another sibling, but he was born much later, so he's not in my story. Or they're not in my story. So my mom had 3 kids, was a stay-at-home mom, and was married to my dad who was in the Air Force at the time. Somehow, some way, my mom started working in Tupperware. Now, as I was so young and didn't care too much at all about it, all I really remember is that my mom once went to a party and it was so boring. As a literal toddler, all I can remember was during the one party I remember was me thinking, why do grown-ups like these parties? There's nothing to do. I didn't realize that my mom saw the light at some point and stopped selling Tupperware. Now, my Beachbody story. Okay, there's not much to say on this. I was in middle school and high school, and this was around the time that Beachbody started to become an MLM, I believe 2011 to 2015. Anyway, during this time, we did P90 in gyms sometimes. However, there were old old workouts from way before they became an MLM. And how do I know this? Because they were literally on VHS tapes. Literally all of the workouts were played on a VCR. American public schools still used VCRs in 2015. Mary Kay. The next brush with an MLM came from my sister, who had met a new friend at college. It was now fall 2018, and I was in my second year of college, and there were two other girls that were there already, but I didn't know them, and they left right after the makeup portion. My sister, who I'll call A, was approached to throw a Mary Kay party. Okay, so my sister, who I'll call A, was approached to throw a Mary Kay party. A invited me, our campus ministry girls, and that was really it. We went to this random office looking building, like a place you can rent to hold interviews and stuff, at this random strip mall about 45 minutes away. All I can really remember before going was feeling dread. I had social anxiety with meeting new people, and I'm an introvert who had just spent like 8 hours around other people in class. I just wanted to be alone in my own room for a few hours. My sister drove us to the office place where we had the party. We were given a little set of a tester-like tray with products on it after the woman asked us if we had dry, oily, or combination skin to wash. At this point, I want to point out that I have ridiculously sensitive skin, which, while it had gotten better since I was a child, it's still really sensitive, so much so that there is a few brands of cleanser and makeup that I can put on it. Anyway, I hadn't been able to do a patch test on my wrist, so being the socially anxious person that I am, I just had to do what I was being pressured into. I had to use the cleaning products and putting on the makeup that hadn't been patch tested. While we were putting on the makeup, the two hosts, the friends of A's, I'll call her B, and her upline I'll call C, started the pitch. Yes, I do believe that needs to be emphasized. B and C started talking about how they sold Mary Kay and how they just talked to people. They were talking more and more and eventually talked about the free trips. This year was a cruise, I think. And this is what I really remember because I had never heard of it before. They talked about the car. Now, for preface, I had only known Mary Kay as a makeup brand. I had never heard of an MLM and assumed they used direct selling, like the legit version. They sold it as that, at first at least. Anyway, back to the car. This is exactly what was said to us. Quote, so when people think of Mary Kay, they think of the pink car, the pink Cadillac, said B. But what people don't know is that the pink Cadillac isn't the only car that Mary Kay gives people. End quote. And yes, you could head the capitalization of the pink Cadillac. I had stopped everything I was doing and gave her this really confused look. If I had to describe my face at that point, it would have been a what have you been talking about? And can you tell me how to avoid it? Because it is really messing with your head kind of look. For one thing, I never knew that Mary Kay had a car program, let alone that they had a pink one. Actually, C put a picture up on the screen of the pink Cadillac. It was so light, I thought it was an off-white car, not pink. And the whole pink seemed to be a selling point for them, but ever since I was 2, I hated the color pink, so it was actually a deterrent for me. Anyway, at the end of the night, they didn't try and separate us like many people say they do, and probably for one reason. It turns out we're all coming back the next night. Again, I got pressured into being there. This time I was less reluctant though. Anyway, we all went back to that same random strip mall place 45 minutes from my house. This time, E and her sister F had their mother come. D and her mother came, and a couple more women from our church came, and this time there were no random other women there that we didn't know, so we knew each other. It was the same setup as yesterday, only the pitch was slightly different. This time they started with the history of Mary Kay, how it was founded, then there was a little quiz to see how much we might know, with the winner getting some free products. Then came another line that I vividly remember. C said, this is a company made by women for women to empower women. Women are our customers and our partners. C kept saying women, women, women. And when I first noticed it, I was like, well, this is kind of sexist. There are men out there that wear makeup too, so men could be your customers, not to mention non-binary people. Then I thought, even if men didn't wear makeup, maybe they would want to buy their sister, girlfriend, wife, mother, something. It seemed like they were only focusing on the women aspect, which I did not like. They did a more intricate explanations on how the business works, then started pulling us aside. F did end up signing onto being a Mary Kay distributor. A and D ended up buying buying products, and when it was my turn to get pulled aside, B could probably see I was uncomfortable. Remember, social anxiety, but public speaking is fine with me, so one-on-one interaction with new people for me is terrifying. Thankfully, talking with others has helped, but I still hate doing it. We had been handed little cards to fill out with questions like if we wanted to have a Mary Kay party, if we wanted to join, if we were interested in being used as a model for the parties. I had answered yes to hosting/having a party, but again, it was obvious I was uncomfortable, and this is where I have a crap ton of respect for this rep. She outright asked me if I was answering yes out of feeling of obligation, which I was. When I confirmed that I was and that I was happy with my products and was not going to buy anything, she smiled at me. She stated, "Okay, then I will make sure that no one contacts you to try and get you to have a party." B told me she kept treating me the same as she had been the whole time both days I was there, and only gave someone more attention when they were in one-on-one time or came up to her after to change an order. And guess what? I was never contacted by any Mary Kay rep. She stuck to her word, which honestly astounded me, and it astounded me more when I learned more about MLMs and how they are structured. When I got home, the first thing I did was wash my face. The products left my skin red and itchy, but nothing worse, thank you God. I went to talk to my parents as I was and am a broke college student living at home. When we got to talking, with her parents about Mary Kay and B and C wanting us to pay over $100 to join, my parents quickly asked if I had. I looked at them both dead in the eyes and said, "No, I don't have $100. Besides, this sounded too good to be true. It sounded like a scam. Besides, I would have to also talk to people." Both my parents knew about my social anxiety and that I'm an introvert, so that made them smile a bit. They quickly confirmed it was a scam, which is when I learned about Tupperware, which had a similar selling model as Mary Kay, and that it was a waste of time per my mom. Now here's my story about an actual pyramid scheme. A week later, I got a text from another woman in my church. It was the usual holiday pyramid scheme, the one that says you can send one person a gift and get 6 to 10 in return. Yeah, that one. I didn't know it was a scheme at the time, and I did end up doing it, but I used Amazon to gift a friend whose address I already had. So I gifted them an Aladdin-themed bracelet, and I got a hand/nail self-care kit from another woman in my church. Thankfully, did not seem to have anything stolen, didn't give any details away to anyone who didn't already have them, and was happy with my gift, and my friend was happy with her bracelet. So if you guys actually don't know, I did a video on this last year. So last Christmas, I did a whole, I don't know how long the video was, but I did a whole video on it. And I think I put it in my playlist on my YouTube channel under scam commentary. If you guys want to go and check that out, I talk all about this holiday scam. Her next story says, unknown MLM. Remember E, sister to F, who started Mary Kay? Yeah, she and her dad got into another MLM, not sure which one. We only talked about it briefly in passing, and when I said I didn't want to join, she respected that. I just know one of the selling points was that it was going to be an amazing online shop that replaced Amazon in the next 2 years, huh? We also seem to have gotten random Scentsy stuff for presents. We don't use it. It's a wall plug-in wax melter thing. You know those Airwick wall plugins? It's like that, but a wax melter and with 2 puppies. That's not practical. Now her anti-MLM story. It was a week after the annual pyramid scheme happened that I got recommended some anti-MLM content on YouTube, Illuminati, that I started learning about MLM scams and such. I went on a binge for 6 to 8 weeks, then kind of lost interest. Then about 1 to 2 weeks ago, end of October 2021, I found your channel and I've loved listening to your videos while driving to work. Now, I know you like to have updates at the end of these emails. Oh, girl, you watch my videos. You would know. So she said E and F and their dad are out of their respective MLMs. F, Mary Kay MLM, never really had time to work the business because she was in school to become a registered massage therapist. She graduated and now gets paid $20 to $30 an hour plus tips at her massage therapy job. E works at a Chick-fil-A, is still going to college for graphic design. Their father is doing Uber Eats and makes good money. E and F's mother does believe F could have done far in Mary Kay, but she's too lazy to do anything with the business. When I asked about how F was doing with it a few weeks afterwards, she was taking a really intense 3-month quick course to finish faster. I have not joined an MLM, thankfully. I started a YouTube channel for my puppies. I unfortunately haven't been able to update it much due to personal matters, health, family, death, moving, learning more and more how to train a deaf dog, and a bunch of other personal stuff that I don't want to get into. I also have a different channel, which I really just use as an excuse to color and relax, to help my desires from all the other things going on. And I started an Instagram for my pups as well. I'll list everything in case you want to look it up. Yes, I'm going to link all of her channels. So she has her dog channel, dog Instagram, and coloring channel. I will do that or list it all down below or link it all down below. So girl, thank you so much for sharing your story. It was definitely a long one and the sun is definitely down now. Hopefully you guys don't care about the lighting. Thank you so much for sharing your story. You had a lot of stories. I always so astounded to see people like get so many experiences with MLMs. And that's why I always say that MLMs are everywhere. They're everywhere. And whether you have seen someone in an MLM or been in an MLM, you've been pitched in one way, shape, or form. Or maybe when you were a kid, your parent was like having Mary Kay parties and all that stuff that would happen a lot back then. So thank you so much for sharing it. And thank you so much for the update. I do love hearing your updates at the end of my stories. So this story says, "Hi Deanna, please keep me anonymous. I am a 23-year-old trans man and use he/him pronouns. My mom has been a Mary Kay consultant for most of my life. I have a lot of stories to tell. My earliest memories related to Mary Kay was my mom listening to director speeches and talks on cassette tapes. She goes to a seminar every year, and over time, the cassettes turned into CDs. She had an entire case in the car of many, many CDs. One of the sayings forever tattooed in my brain is, God first, family second, career third. I have a prominent memory of my mom trying to teach my brother and I the lyrics to Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield. She wanted us to sing it for her on stage once she became a director. She has not ever risen above the rank of a red jacket. The plan growing up was for my mom to earn a Cadillac and for me to get her old car. She would talk about it all the time. I grew up with the expectation that my mother would become a national sales director and we would have a pink Cadillac. None of those things happened. I remember my mom only taking me to one meeting. During the meeting, the guests, or people who were not consultants yet, were pulled out of the room and given the sales pitch. It was very uncomfortable, and at one point, the woman who was giving the sales pitch even drew a pyramid while saying Mary Kay is not a pyramid. Over the years, I have helped prepare my mother's lookbooks, catalog that Mary Kay sells to consultants that they turn in to sell to their customers. Yes, you have to purchase the catalog. I helped her inventory her orders, organize her multiple tackle boxes of product. It was not until recently that I started learning more about the anti-MLM movement and doing my own research. My mom is a kind and very smart woman, and I do not understand how she has been a part of this business for so long without looking into an income disclosure statement. I digress. In 2020, my mother did her best year in sales ever, which totally isn't a red flag. She texted me desperate to get me to join her team. My mom has tried to get me to join her team for years. I would always come up with some excuse as to why I did not want to, and she has always continued to ask. As a bit of a background, I came out as a trans man in 2018 and 2019. Makeup in general has been a hard thing for me. I've tried to wear eye makeup, but realized very quickly it triggered my dysphoria. When mom asked in 2020 for me to join the company, I initially gave the old excuse of not having the money or the time. She said that she was 2 recruits away from qualifying for the car, so my mom offered to cover the cost of me joining her team, which I now know is buying a rank. She called me on the phone knowing that my anxiety would not allow me to say no if she was able to talk to me verbally about it. She pushed me hard, and eventually I told her that joining and trying to sell makeup would trigger my dysphoria and depression. She finally backed off. My mother has never once asked my younger cisgender brother to join her team. My mother did not consider what joining Mary Kay would do to my taxes. I never ever thought that my mom's morals would get so twisted that she'd be willing to lie in order to rank advance. Oh, I still feel betrayed and hurt. I love my mom and do not want to see her get hurt and manipulated by this company and her upline anymore. I still have not confronted her about the incident or about Mary Kay's business practices. I throw away almost every product she gives me because they do not work, but I do not have the heart to tell her to stop. She does not know how against MLMs I am. When I have visited her house, I have seen many products from other MLMs in her house, including Monat and Young Living. I tried to tell her about the class action lawsuits against Monat for hair loss, and she brushed it off. My mom has spent so long and so much money being a Mary Kay consultant. She has adopted the company to be part of her personal identity. I want to help my mom, but I do not know how. Thank you for taking the time to read this. I have plenty of other stories about my experience as a kid of a Mary Kay consultant. Let me know if you want me to send those. Then he sent me a second email and said, "Hi, Deanna. I just remembered something else weird my mom does. She would take photos of Mary Kay directors, cut them out, and paste my mother's own head onto it. She claims it is to help visualize success. It looks creepy as hell." That is kind of creepy. That is really creepy. First off, thank you so much for sharing your story. I just love reading your guys' stories, but I'm sorry you've gone through that. I can't imagine like having to deal with that and kind of not knowing what to say to your mom and being like, "Hey, I don't really want to join," but like also wanting to have that relationship with your, parent. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I despise MLMs. It's like when you know someone and you are so close to someone like your mom, your sibling, whatever it is, a best friend, and they keep like asking and asking and asking you to join their MLM, it can be really hard to not want to just cut them off or stop talking to them. And this is exactly how in some scenarios and in some ways, relationships and shit can be ruined because this ends up happening and then the person that it's happening to just doesn't want to deal with it anymore. So shout out to you for, one, kind of saying, "Hey mom, this isn't really good for me. That's not healthy for me. One, join this company. I also don't want to join this company." And I say shout out to you for that because it's not easy to tell someone like your mom that you don't want to do that. Because I know a lot of people aren't very good at telling like their parent those kind of things. It can be hard to like face them with that. And it's sad. It seems like your mom is definitely really, really far into the MLM and just can't see her way out of it. Oh, that sucks. So I hope that you are doing okay, and thank you for having the courage to tell me your story. I really love reading these kind of stories and kind of hearing your experience when it comes to, or hearing people's experience when it comes to their parent and kind of like growing up with their parent, being in an MLM, and then becoming an adult and their parent continues to, try and recruit them into their MLM. It's crazy. So I think I'm going to read one more. Yeah, let's do it. Let's fuck it. It's the last horror stories of December. Let's do it. "Hi, Deanna. My name is blank, but please don't use it. My best friend watches you too, and this story is about her mother-in-law. I have dyslexia, so please excuse the spelling and grammar mistakes. You are good. My story is short. I've been struggling with some medical issues for a few years now. It caused me to gain almost 100 pounds. It took doctors over 10 years to diagnose me with my chronic illness. But now I finally have the answers. It's been 6 months since I got my diagnosis, and I've lost over 30 pounds since then. Go me. Yes, go you. That's great. So a few months ago, I went to my friend's wedding. I was nervous because my dress ended up being a little too big. I had got it before losing weight. I explained to a lot of people my situation with being diagnosed with a chronic illness and losing weight, along with my need to lose more weight to get the surgery that I need. I do overshare and talk when I'm nervous. The night went great, and my best friend looked so beautiful. I definitely cried when she walked down the aisle, and I spent a good amount of time talking to her new mother-in-law. She's a very nice woman, and she is easy to talk to. Fast forward to about a month later. My best friend sends me a text saying her mother-in-law got reeled into an MLM. It works. She had turned down her new mother-in-law wanting her to buy products. Thank God my best friend's anti-MLM too. My best friends are too. But I guess her mother-in-law brought up me and asked if I'd be interested because she knows I need to lose weight. My best friend told her no. Her mother-in-law is a very nice person, but I think it's a good practice to not bring up other people's weight loss journey, even if we have to talk about it in the past. Plus, I wouldn't even be able to take most It Works products due to medical issues. It is a super short and anticlimactic, but the whole situation gives me a good laugh. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, this is a perfect example of what not to do when it comes to anything considering weight loss. I definitely can see that the MLMs like It Works, Beachbody, Thrive, Isogenics, etc., any weight loss MLM can be very triggering for a lot of people because it's not really, I feel, socially acceptable to message someone and be like, hey, yeah, about your weight loss from a year ago, you want to lose more weight with me? So I'm really glad that your best friend is also, anti-multi-level marketing and that she told her mom no. So thank you so much for sharing that. So I think this is the last MLM horror stories this year. I'm so sad about it. But it's just so crazy how far we have come in these stories, how many stories we have read, how many people have shared their story with me. And I thank each and every one of you who have shared their story with me these past 79 weeks. Don't forget to leave a comment and like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next video.